Hello everyone, this is Just a Dad. Today I'm going to show you how to make a cup of coffee with the Keurig K-Compact using your own coffee grounds. So I've got another video where I show you how to use like a K-Cup, but they make these reusable K-Cups that you can use your own coffee grounds in. These are made by Perfect Pod. This is Amazon's #2 best-selling reusable K-Cup. It's got a really fine wire mesh screen. I use these paper filters to go along with it. I've got another video that I show you when you make coffee without using a filter, you get sediment in your cup of coffee, which I'm not sure if sediment's good or bad for you, but you do get sediment. If you use a paper filter in here, you don't get sediment. So the reusable K-Cup is exactly the same size as a K-Cup. It's got the hole in the top where the needle goes. Normally this gets pierced, and then it's got a recessed area in the bottom here where the bottom needle goes. It's got this nice O-ring on the lid, and we're going to make sure the biggest point with this is when we close the lid, we don't want any coffee grounds underneath the lid so that we get a nice tight seal. And over here at the Keurig, there's that bottom needle. So since this is recessed, when we put it in, it doesn't get pierced by the bottom needle, and there's room for that top needle to go right there. So we want to make sure our coffee is ground like a normal to a medium grind. Here I got Folgers. It's just ground coffee. It's like a medium grind. You don't want anything too fine like an espresso grind or too coarse. Just like you would put in a normal coffee maker. Now Perfect Pod sells this scoop called the Easy Scoop by Perfect Pod. At first I was a little skeptical of it, but it is actually really nice. You scoop out 2 tablespoons of coffee, put the lid on, and then it helps pour it in there. It actually works really well. And again, I've got my paper filters. So the first thing we're going to do is open this up. Now these paper filters come pre-formed like this, but when you put them in there, you want to push them down all the way. We have to make room for that 2 tablespoons of coffee. Now it's okay that the paper filter sticks above. We just don't want any coffee grounds in there. Okay, so I've got my paper filter in. Again, this is 2 tablespoons. That's what a K-Cup holds. So here I've got a K-Cup cut open. And inside, this is one that's already been brewed. This is one that's not. There's 2 tablespoons of coffee grounds. And K-Cups use a filter too. That's a paper filter that the water has to go to before it comes out the bottom. So I like to get just a little bit less than the 2 tablespoons. It just makes it a little easier. So there I've got my scoop. I put the lid on. I kind of hold it in. I hold the reusable K-Cup and just dump it all in there. You got to kind of make sure. Now it's going to mound up a little bit. That's okay. That's okay. We just don't want any underneath the lip. So with it mounded up, we're going to press this down. I didn't get any coffee grounds underneath the lid. Now you do get some coffee grounds in here. I just tap them out and put them back in there. You don't want any coffee grounds on the outside. If they're on the outside of the K-Cup here, you'll get them inside your coffee cup. So then we come over here, we treat it like any other K-Cup. You put it in there. It's going to be flush. Now don't force this. If this isn't going down right, then something's wrong. It should go down nice and easy. Now I treat that reusable K-Cup just like a 10 ounce. I brew it on the 10 ounce setting. Okay, so again, this is the 6, 8, and 10. I brew mine on the 8. So they do recommend stirring these because the water is kind of more clear when it comes towards the end. Now it gets brewed at about 165. Yeah, that's a really hot cup of coffee. And these taste really good. I'll do a taste test. Yeah, that's a really good tasting cup of coffee. I've got another video. Like, I take Folgers, I brew it in a coffee maker. I brew a K-Cup, and then I also brew it in a reusable K-Cup, and I do a taste test with all three. Very hard to tell the difference. You know, the coffee maker might have tasted a little smoother, but the Keurigs make really good cup of coffees. And your possibilities are endless with all the different kinds of coffees. So say they don't make your K-Cup, but you know, you can even grind your whole bean. Like, this is Pete's coffee, the whole bean. I grind this with a burr grinder, and I put it on the medium grind, and it's almost identical to what they put in the Folgers can as far as the grinding, but it tastes really good. So we're going to lift this up. Now, I do get a little water on top of mine. I've tried this K-Cup, reusable K-Cup, in several different Keurig machines, and it seems like it always does leave a little bit of water on top. Now, be careful. These things can be hot. So I'm going to open it up. This is going to be pretty much your cleanup. You may want to let it cool off, though. These things do get kind of hot. But you don't have to use a paper filter. I just like to use it to prevent sediment. I've got a whole nother video that I do a cup of coffee with and without the filter. So there's what your reusable K-Cup. You still have to wash it out with soap and water at the top, but it's a little easier to clean since you don't have a bunch of coffee grounds in there. And then there's what you brewed your coffee at. So if you got any questions or comments on how I use this reusable K-Cup, leave them in the comments down below. I check my comments on a daily basis. I've been seeing a lot of comments about this reusable K-Cup, about it. Sometimes water will flow over to the sides and not through the K-Cup. It could be the grind of coffee you're using. If you use too fine of coffee, the water won't go through it as good as it should. Other than that, it should work out pretty good. But I hope you liked this video. If you could, please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.